Okay, Judge, you can take it away. We're streaming and we're recording.
All right, good evening. Welcome and thank you each for participating in tonight's forum hosted by voters east of the Industrial Canal. I'm Kiva Landrum and I've been asked to moderate the forum for you this evening. So I just want to welcome everyone and let you know that tonight's forum focuses on accountability, public investment, and the everyday impacts of state decisions on our neighborhoods. Each candidate will receive the same questions and equal time. Time limits will be strictly enforced to ensure fairness. This is a nonpartisan forum, and we'd ask that you please hold any applause or reactions until the end. So we're going to start by having a brief introduction by each candidate. So I'm going to ask if you'll each state your name, confirm the district that you're running and that you're seeking, and then to answer these three questions. And if you need them repeated throughout your answer, I will do that. What do you believe is the single biggest challenge facing your district right now and why? What do you think leaders often misunderstand about the district? And what have you done in the district to create a long-lasting benefit for residents, work where you were not paid? And so I'm going to start in the order on my screen, and we'll start with Mr. Henry. If you'll state your name, confirm your House district, and answer those three questions, and you have 90 seconds total to give us that answer and introduction.
Thank you, Judge. Can you repeat the last question again? Long-lasting benefit for
Sure.
the district?
What have you done in the district that created a long-lasting benefit for residents? For instance, work that you were not paid to do, so not your employment.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mhm.
And thanks for having the forum this evening. My name is Dana Henry. I'm a candidate, Attorney Dana Henry. I'm a candidate for District 100, Louisiana House of Representatives. I think the single biggest challenge facing us in New Orleans East is lack of sustainable jobs and economic opportunities for businesses, both small, medium, and large businesses. I think that's the biggest thing that we're facing right now. I think the second question I wrote down was leaders.
Yes. What do you think leaders often misunderstand about the district?
I think that leaders think that, New Orleans East is everyone kind of thinks the same. I think more like homogenous, but it's actually a big area with little different many communities. I mean, the issues that affect the front of New Orleans East, say the Pines Village area, up and down Dauman to Wilson Avenue and Dwyer and Mayo may be different than what impacts Village de l'Est or even Lake Catherine. So there is no kind of one size fits all for New Orleans East. I think leaders think that there may be one issue or two issues that can focus on the entire East, but even in District 100, there's many different communities in that. And I think that most leaders misunderstand that in their approach, or could misunderstand that in their approach to really making an impact. The last question, long-lasting benefits for the residents that I was not paid for. I would have to say the work I've done around early childhood education, that was something that was done on a volunteer basis over about a 3-year period to lead or work with leaders around getting high quality early childhood education and funding. It was a citywide initiative, but there's multiple early childhood providers in New Orleans East with infants and toddlers that can benefit from the City Seats program. And that's a $22 million annual investment that was made. That started with a $750,000 pilot program by Mayor Mitch Landrieu at the time. So I would have to say that would be the biggest impact that I've made for residents of District 100 that I was not paid directly for.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Kelly, the question is now yours. If you would please introduce yourself, state your name and the House district you're seeking, and answer those three questions.
Good afternoon again. My name is Aisha Kelly, and I would like to thank you all for hosting tonight. First question, I am seeking the seat for state representative for District 100. The second question, I tried to write them down. Could you give
Sure.
that one to me again?
Yes, I can repeat them for you. What do you believe is the single biggest challenge facing the district right now, and why?
I believe the single largest issue facing the district right now is quality of life. And then we know under quality of life, there's several pieces that hang from that quality of life umbrella, right? So I would say under quality of life, one of those I think would be imperative pieces is women and children's health. As we know in our district that we are lacking access to affordable women and children health care. And at this point, I believe that it has become a health crisis because we don't have the access that we need in order to properly serve women and children within the district. So I think that would be one of our largest issues within the district.
And then what do you think leaders often misunderstand about the district?
I think that leaders most times misunderstand about District 100 is that it's a people-powered district, and that they have to work alongside and in conjunction with the people of the district. This district must be the constituents of this district must be included on every aspect of the decision making and all aspects of conversations in order for this district to move forward and for it to be successful. So I would say it would be that the misconception is that that a lot of times elected officials don't understand that this is a people power district.
And then what have you done in the district that has created a long-lasting benefit for residents, work for which you were not paid?
I think I've done a few pieces within the district, but I will share that I had the opportunity to create a citywide ordinance with Councilman Oliver Thomas and with a few other constituents in the district that would hold big box companies accountable for shopping carts. So if you all are familiar, we had a really huge issue with rogue shopping carts throughout the district. And through this piece of written ordinance that we created, it required those people, those companies to lock those shopping carts. And we saw a drastic change throughout the district with the courts being maintained within the proximity of the grocery stores. And I think that in general impacted the overall quality of life for all constituents.
Thank you. And Mr. Rounds, the question is yours. If you'll state your name, confirm the district that you're running, and answer those 3 questions and let me know if you need those repeated. You're on mute.
Good evening. I'm Kenya Rounds, and I'm a candidate for District 100, Louisiana House of State Representatives. I'm a lifelong resident of New Orleans East. And I'm prepared for your questions, Judge.
Sure. The first question is, what do you believe is the single biggest challenge facing the district right now, and why?
Judge, I believe the biggest single challenge facing the district is, one, slow progress. I mean, we still look the same that we've looked since 2005, Hurricane Katrina, and sustainable growth. We do see businesses coming in and making an impact, but that's short term. They're not having any longevity. So to create jobs, you need to create long-term opportunities for families to grow, for families to be able to afford affordable housing. Just coming in for 6 months or a year and not seeing their bottom line and relocating out the district doesn't create any sustainability. So our small business economy is not sustainable at this time. I think we do have an influx of some small businesses, but when you look around a year later, they're closed. And that's not a good formula for sustainability.
And then the next question is, what do you think leaders often misunderstand about the district?
I think leaders misunderstand that we're actually not getting our fair share of revenue that should be attributed to New Orleans East. We're one of the largest tax bases in the city where we put out funding to support every other district. And it's not a slight or bias against any other district, but New Orleans East deserves to get its resources back that it puts out into the remainder of the city. I think because of the disinvestment that's been looked at in New Orleans East, we're not able to have the resources that it takes to really rebuild and renew what we have. So we have to start getting our fair share of resources, not only from the state of Louisiana, but also from the city of New Orleans. New Orleans East deserves its fair share, and I intend to get it.
And then finally, what have you done in the district that has created a long-lasting benefit for residents, work for which you were not paid to do?
Well, as my 22 years of being a practicing attorney, owning my own business, I've done probably in the tens or 20s of voter registration drives, beautification projects, free legal aid for residents out in the East. We've been on the ground helping people with dislocations and when they've been put out their homes by tragedy. So we've been in the district working with people through our profession every day.
Thank you. And Ms. Taylor, if you will please introduce yourself and confirm the House district seat you're seeking, and then answer those 3 questions and let me know if I need to repeat them for you.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Candace Taylor, District 100 for Louisiana State Representative. First question, the single biggest challenge facing District 100. It's a few things, but I know I have to focus on one. And I would speak to infrastructure and economic development. We've not seen any major work done on our thoroughfares, Crowder, Reed, Bullard, we're getting some things done on Hain, but we have not seen any real investment into our infrastructure, and not just the streets, but the roads, the sidewalks, internet, stormwater management, and tying that into economic development. We want to see economic development, but we have to pave the way through investment into our infrastructure. So I think that's one of the biggest things that we're facing right now, because ultimately everyone wants to see economic development. We have to invest into our infrastructure, and that takes on many forms, depending upon if you're a business owner, or if you're a small business owner, if you're a big business, if you're a resident. We have to address the infrastructure investment.
And then what do you think leaders often misunderstand about the district?
Yeah, being in a position of a leader, you have to be called to serve, in my opinion. I think you have to be a servant in all aspects. And to truly serve people, you have to have communication with them, and you have to listen, and you have to be engaged. So there's often this misunderstanding, or there's this misinformation that the individuals that live here are not in concert with each other. And I think that tends to shift the focus off of the work that needs to be done, and it's focused so much on what's perceived to be a disconnect. So I think there is a strong connection, a strong community here in District 100, and that's often lost in translation when other things are being discussed. So there's a strong group of people here that have been doing the work, that are on the ground every day, putting their hands to the plow. And so I would say that is something that's often misunderstood about District 100.
And then what have you done in the district that has created a long-lasting benefit for residents and work for which you were not paid to do?
Yes. So I'll speak to the Hain Boulevard Revitalization Initiative, in which I co-led and initiated a request that started with a 311, but we identified, as most people know, if you frequent Hain Boulevard, you know that it is extremely dangerous and unsafe, not just for those that are driving, but those that ride their bike, those that walk, attempting to cross the street, those that catch the RTA. So we initiated a revitalization initiative where we've gone from study to concept design to completely revitalize this corridor to ensure that the road is safe for all users. So we're bringing down the traffic, the speeding, bringing back calming measures, and also beautifying the corridor. And that's going to be sustainable. And it's also going to spur economic growth along this corridor in anticipation for Lincoln Beach.
Thank you. Thank you for your
You're welcome.
responses. And I see we have Ms. Robertson. Ms. Robertson, if you will please introduce yourself, confirm the seat that you're running for, and then if you'll answer those 3 questions and I can repeat the questions for you.
Yes, ma'am. Good night, everyone. I'm Dr. Patricia Boyd Robertson, and I am running for state representative for District 100. I think that the biggest challenge that's facing our district is definitely economic development. But I think when I look at even the prevention of economic development is the crime. And I think that in order for us to combat the crime, we have to bring on social programs such as job training, such as youth mentoring programs, such as mental illness support programs. And so until we face those things, until we bring on something that can combat the crime, even with the economic development, we still going to have that problem. So even though I believe that economic development, I believe we need to bring more businesses. I believe we need to bring, restaurants and all of these other things. But I think we have to fight the crime, and we have to give some kind of support to our youth so that they can not participate in the crime.
Thank you. And then what do you think leaders often misunderstand about the district?
I think the leaders often misunderstand about District 100 is, first of all, there's been a change in demographics. Also, I really believe that they do not understand the mental condition of the residents in New Orleans East in District 100. Since Hurricane Katrina, many people are still suffering from, as most people have talked about, buildings still not being put up, mental illness that have not been dealt with. People are still suffering, and I think they don't understand that, so they keep going around that. But we have to bring programs that can address those mental issues.
And then lastly, what have you done in the district that has created a long-lasting benefit for residents, work for which you were not paid?
Okay, as a business owner, I have a business in financial services, so I provide financial seminars to the community, which have been very, very successful, and I've seen a lot of families benefit from. I also offer tutoring for those in school from grades 5th through 8th. And then I also offer a MAT camp every year to help those that are struggling in MAT, because we know that that's a subject that a lot of our children are suffering in. And I've also started a nonprofit called Caring About New Orleans, where we provide services to our senior population. So every month we go visit the seniors, and then once a year we do a senior luncheon, and it has been so amazingly successful. And the seniors of our community, they call us every so often just to let us know how much they appreciate us not forgetting about them. So those are a few of the things that I have done.
Well, thank you. And thank you to each of the candidates for your introductions and your answers to these questions. We're now going to shift a little bit and talk about motivation and accessibility. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to answer this question. The question is, why are you running for the House seat at this moment? And how will residents be able to reach you and get responses if you are elected? And we'll begin with Ms. Taylor.
All right, thank you. I was writing the question down. Why am I running? And I'm sorry.
And how will residents be able to reach you and get responses if you are elected?
Okay, thank you. I'm running to ensure that the people of District 100 have tangible results, tangible solutions through intentional policies that are going to have a direct impact on our everyday life. My lived experience has taught me a lot about bad policy and what that looks like and how it impacts every aspect of my life. And so I'm running to ensure that the residents feel the difference. And I'm going to provide real-time information to residents as bills are going through the House and the Senate, and quarterly town hall meetings.
Thank you. Mr. Rounds, your response.
Judge, I've offered myself for candidacy in this race because I'm a son of New Orleans East. I'm running to strengthen public safety and accountability. I want to provide stabilization to neighborhoods. I want to see property values rise again. I'm running because what New Orleans East poured into me, I'm a product of New Orleans East. My success is based solely on the support and the community that I received from New Orleans East, and I want to see it progress. As far as being able to meet me and talk to me, I'll hold monthly community meetings. New Orleans East has strong neighborhood associations, just like the one we're talking to now. I want to talk to those residents. I want to know what their concerns are. I want to share in their feelings because I'm just like them. So I want to make sure that I'm have an ear to the ground, that I'm in touch with the community needs, and that I fulfill those needs. So I'm running because I want to bring results to District 100.
Thank you. And Ms. Kelly, your response.
Yes, could you give me that question again? My
Sure.
apologies.
Why are you running for the House district at this moment, and how will residents be able to reach you and get responses if you are elected?
Well, I will tell you that I have ensured that I have been in preparation over years for this run, in preparation of educating myself, for working throughout the community, working with state and local officials in preparation. But I am running at this consequential moment to ensure that we have a bold voice at the state capitol, a voice that reflects our values, that protects our community, and that ensures that we receive investment in our future. And our question is, what does our future look like, right? And to me, our future looks like, as me as your state representative, looks like sorry, my brain went clear. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It looks like equitable education and, of course, safe schools for every child in the district. It looks like accessible and affordable health care for women and for children throughout the district. And it looks like it looks like economic development and infrastructure investment that spurs jobs and opportunities, and also brings back a sense of dignity to the community. And the second part of that question would be, I will continue to work alongside those neighborhood associations and keep consistent conversation. I think transparency would be the key here, to identify a way to provide some type of platform where citizens can go in real time and see what's transpiring at the state level, but also just doing it the old-fashioned way, quarterly town hall meetings, accessibility where they can reach me via cell phone. I think just basic communication that is real time, and also ensuring that I'm accessible to the members of the community.
Thank you. And that question now to Ms. Robertson. Why are you running for the House district seat at this moment, and how will residents be able to reach you and get responses if you are elected?
Okay, so I am running because, first of all, I am a lifelong resident of New Orleans East. I've seen the beauty of New Orleans East. I've seen the vibrancy of New Orleans East. I know what New Orleans East can and should be. So I am running because New Orleans East have been promised for over decades that they would have this economic development come back into New Orleans East, and it has not happened. So I feel that this is the time now for New Orleans East to have what has been promised and to have the quality of life that they deserve. So I'm running because I want to bring that quality of life back to New Orleans East, to ensure that the residents of New Orleans East have what they need. And then how I can be reached, I am very visible in the neighborhoods already, and I am very involved in most of the homeowners associations. And definitely for people to be able to reach me, I will continue to go into the homeowners associations and make myself available, and also provide my communication information, such as my phone number, my email address, and whoever needs to get in contact with me, they would have that opportunity to do so.
Thank you. And Mr. Henry, the question is yours.
I'm running, primarily to build on the work that Councilmember Hughes started while he was in the legislature, to continue to make an impact and build on the work that he did. I'm running because I have experience in the legislative process. I worked as a lobbyist. I worked for Senator Lambert Boissier as a legislative aide. Um, I've, been in and around the Capitol since for the last 15 years working on various issues through advocacy. So I'm running because I want to make an impact. This is a unique opportunity with the investments that are going to be made by the new administration, um, with the investments that are going to be made in terms of jobs, may not be directly in New Orleans East, but around New Orleans East. And this is a very, very serious time and a very, very serious matter. And I think I know people say when they run, it's a critical time, but this really is a critical time because what we do over the next 2 years for this seat is going to be really, really important for the next 20 years. And I ran 22 years ago, and we're still talking about the same issues that were plaguing us back then. To no fault of any leaders in between that time, because they have been working diligently, but I'm running to make an impact. If it does not make an impact, I will not support or work towards that. In terms of community outreach and engagement, I'm going to have an open door policy. I'm blessed to work from home as an attorney. In the same way I have to return a client's calls within a certain amount of time, I will do the same with constituents. If they don't hear from me directly, they'll get a text or a phone call saying, hey, I'll call you back within 24 hours. Let's talk. I want to be a thought leader. I'm not going to be the person telling people what to do. The beauty of New Orleans East is that we have people who have been here for years in District 100, not like other parts of the city where people are transient and they come and go. The institutional knowledge is in our neighborhoods, and I want to tap into that and be a thought leader and thought partner, and also participate and partner with the organizations that are already here, like Enoch and others like this organization.
Thank you. All right, candidates, we're going to shift a little bit and talk about infrastructure, flooding, and district advocacy. You have 75 seconds to answer this question. Flooding, drainage, and street conditions continue to impact our neighborhoods. How would you prioritize which projects receive funding, and how would you advocate effectively for the district within the legislature? And we'll start with Mr. Rounds.
Safe drainage is an issue in New Orleans East. We understand that we suffer from natural disasters. Our coastline isn't built up to the level that we would want it to be built up to. So I would advocate for funding to support our coastline, to help with the storms as they come in, and also allocate funding for our drainage system. We know that it's old. Sewage and Water Board has told us that these pipes are 100+ years old and they need to be repaired. We've allocated money after money to get them repaired, but somehow it appears that they're still in the same condition that they're in. And that should not be a burden of the citizens of District 100. The funding has came over and over. The taxpayers have bared the burden of replacing the funding, replacing the pipes, replacing the drainage. Nothing has worked to this point. So we're going to have to look outside of our normal scope, and we're going to have to look at drainage projects that actually make a difference. Additionally, we're going to have to look with Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality to make sure those things that's going into those drains are not putting us at safety risk. So I would lobby with, of course, the New Orleans Coalition to make sure that that is a function and part of their legislative package. And I would support it in the legislature with my colleagues because it's necessary and we need it.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor, the question is yours. Flooding, drainage, and street conditions continue to impact our neighborhoods. How would you prioritize which projects receive funding, and how would you advocate effectively for your district in the legislature?
Yeah, thank you. I think for me, when we talk about prioritization, I think there's an issue across District 100 in terms of, as Mr. Round said, in terms of the aged system that we have here. So the advocacy has to be aggressive. We have to show where we are now. We have to talk about the current condition of the city, current condition of flooding, how we're at risk for flooding and coastal erosion and issues that we're having. We have to be able to speak to that and use that information from years, looking at how some areas are have not historically flooded, and those that are currently flooding now. Our community tells a story of the disinvestment that we've experienced. So we have to, show the data, show the numbers. And then I also think it's important to educate our community or our residents on the importance of, practical things that we can do on a daily basis, making certain practices a habit, daily habits of taking care of our community, and why it's important to not, throw trash on the ground, how that impacts our storm drains. So it's a whole education piece. Thank you.
Thank you. And then the question, Mr. Henry, is yours.
Thanks for the question, Judge. I think the first thing I would do is try to identify, in terms of funding, I mean, I would always want good money to go at bad problems first. So I don't want us to fund a project that's not going to give us a good return on our investment. So I would first meet with the community and figure out what parts of District 100 have the biggest drainage and flooding problems. District 100 is, again, there's different parts. They may flood more and have drainage issues in Village de l'Est more than they do on the Bullitt or Reed corridor. So I would meet with residents first to figure out what other drainage issues that they have in their individual neighborhoods and communities. The second thing I would do is meet with the other members of the Orleans delegation, specifically, Representative Newell, Senator Harris, and figure out historically what have we been doing to address funding around drainage and flooding. Is it something that we do kind of in globo as a delegation, or the individual roles that each legislative member plays? And then after that, really meet with the council and the mayor, figure out collaboratively how we can have one request or ask for the city. Water doesn't stop at a ward or a street. Water doesn't have a boundary. So flooding in one part of the city is going to impact another part of the city because the water has to go somewhere. So that's the approach that I would take. But the first thing I'd do is meet with constituents in District 100 to see who has the biggest drainage and flooding issues and prioritize those areas first.
Thank you. Ms. Kelly?
Yes, can you repeat that question for me?
Sure. Flooding, drainage, and street conditions continue to impact our neighborhoods. How would you prioritize which projects receive funding, and how would you advocate effectively for the district within the legislature?
I think that we've had great answers so far, and I think that I would look at a mixture of those. Of course, I've been running on the understanding or the educational piece of educating constituents about what the job of the state representative is. And we say, we create bills, we balance the budget, but the most important is that we carry the interests of the constituents. So going back to one of my what was said, that we have to have that initial conversation with the constituents and find out the needs and identify the gaps. What are they seeing in their community? So having robust conversations surrounding the needs that they're seeing in their immediate communities to ensure that we are creating legislation and identifying funding that would give us full impact for the community. Also, I would look at, in conjunction with that, the second part of that question, I'm sorry.
And how would you advocate effectively for the district within the legislature?
I mean, advocating effectively, I think, is the ability to work. It's to come in, already have some existing relationships, but the ability to work across the aisles with other legislatures and identify how you can work together to solve some of those issues, because there may be some state level issues that are identical.
Yeah, your time is up. Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Ms. Robertson, and the question is yours. Do you need me to repeat the question?
And I think you said what I prioritize.
Yes.
As far as funding. So I would look at coastal flooding, because one thing I know is that whether it's District 100 or New Orleans, hurricanes are going to come. So I'm looking at coastal flooding. And the reason why I would say that, because currently right now as a professor, I am working on a coastal flooding project. I have just received 2 grants with 2 students that we will be working on, one with technology and one with the oyster shell project. And I think that is so important. And because the state itself, is looking at coastal flooding as something major, that would be something I know I can get funding for. So I would definitely look at coastal flooding.
Thank you. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about economic development and public investment. The question is, how would you advocate for targeted public investment, such as infrastructure, workforce training, or small business support in the district? And how would you ensure those investments benefit existing residents? And we'll start with Ms. Kelly.
I would look at the recreating or re-implementing the legislation for the Economic Development District for New Orleans East. I think that would be a huge piece when we talk about those aspects of economic development, workforce development, education, and all those pieces, even neighborhood engagement. So that would be my first piece that I would look at, is reinstating that economic development district for New Orleans East, and being able to create what I would think would be a nucleus that could serve the full community, and possibly bring it to its highest potential, as it did back in the early 90s and 2000s prior to the hurricane.
Thank you. And then next, let's go to Ms. Robertson. The question is yours, and let me know if I need to repeat it for you.
Can you repeat it for me?
Sure. How would you advocate for targeted public investments, such as infrastructure, workforce training, or small business support in the district? And how would you ensure those investments benefit existing residents?
Okay, there are actually 4 areas that I would definitely target when I think about economic development and infrastructure. Number 1, I would invest in education. And I know that there are funding for education, and everybody's interested in seeing a better educational system, especially early childhood development. And I would include programs such as job training, youth mentorship programs, mental illness programs. Those are things I know would be funded. Number 2, I would look at fostering entrepreneurship. We know that there's been a leaving of companies and small businesses in Silicon Valley. So those businesses will be looking for somewhere to house their businesses. And so entrepreneurship is going to be an area that's going to produce a lot of funding. And then also just infrastructure itself, just making sure that the infrastructure is in place.
Thank you. And Ms. Taylor?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So infrastructure investment is going to be the foundation in which we need for economic development. The economic development that we want, cluster developments, things that we are seeing go up all across this country, has to come with investment in infrastructure. And my plan is to tie infrastructure money that's already there with economic development. I'm also, as we talk about small businesses, I've looked at how can we ensure that the small businesses that we currently have in our community, how can we create a streamlined process directly to the state funding, state resources with the Office of Economic Development. So that's something that I want to do. I want to meet with small businesses on a regular basis, on a quarterly basis, to ensure that they have a pulse and they are aware of the resources available at the state level. We also need to highlight the multi-million-dollar buying power that New Orleans East has. We spend money in other parishes. That money can stay here. Sales tax dollars need to stay here so that we can further build up the economic development that we want to see. And lastly, we have to put workforce training back into the high schools. Some high schools have it. Those workforce, whatever jobs that are here, that are coming, we want to hire local. We have to align those jobs in school with our kids so that when they graduate high school, they have access to those jobs. So all those things, a combination of
Thank
that.
you.
Thank
Time.
you.
Thank you. Mr. Henry, your response, please.
This is a big question. I think the first thing that I would do if elected is I would do some sort of landscape analysis to figure out locally in District 100 what businesses do we have already, and base that analysis on what are we trying to attract. So if we talk about I don't know, the project in Viola, Louisiana, the Louisiana International Terminal, which is going to be containerized cargo, billions and billions of dollars of cargo moving through our parish to get to I-10. What local District 100 trucking companies do we have? What local 100 heavy equipment operators are here? I would try to figure out what do we have first, and then look to Ms. Taylor's point, look to leverage and align with Louisiana Economic Development to figure out what are some opportunities there to invest in our local companies that can provide jobs already for industries that are here and the ones we're trying to attract. I think mentor protege programs work very well. I think those are some things that we could look at as in terms of some grants to support mentor protege programs and incentives. But at the end of the day, I think we need to figure out what do we have and then what do we need based upon the industries that we want to attract. I do believe we have businesses here that can satisfy some of the current needs in terms of job opportunities. But do we?
Thank you. And Mr. Rounds, and let me know if you need me to repeat the question, please.
Yes, please.
So it says, how would you advocate for targeted public investments such as infrastructure, workforce training, or small business support in your district? And how would you ensure those investments benefit existing residents?
Well, let me start from the back first for your question. I think there are capital outlay monies available for institutions like Goodwill that's located on the Plaza site and other entities that we can support through the capital outlay program. But secondly, we need workforce development. If you look at what the mayor, and it's actually already started, if you look at what the mayor initiative she just rolled out with the street lights, quality of life issue. Well, what that does, to give you an example, how it produces everything we're talking about. Those street lights have to get repaired, where you have to have trained electricians that can keep them maintenance, keep them on, and when they break, go out and repair them. What that does, it creates a living wage, it creates fair paying wages for its employees, and it gives them a skill that they can go out with and benefit District 100. Secondly, in infrastructure, we have major projects at our doorstep. As been said already tonight, you have the Louisiana International Terminal that'll generate billions of dollars into this economy. But we have to have that skilled labor to capitalize on it. It's not just the tax base where they're running across our highways and byways, but it's creating these high-paying jobs where families can have an affordable living for themselves and their loved ones. Thirdly, we have to have more recruitment and retention of the NOPD. The 7th District is one of the largest districts in the area, but they have some of the smallest workforce that patrols every night. Residents deserve to feel safe, they deserve to feel happy, and they deserve to feel protected. And if I'm elected the next state representative, I'll provide that for my district.
Thank you. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit, talking about housing and neighborhood stability. How do you balance affordable housing, home ownership, and neighborhood stability while preventing displacement? And we'll start with Ms. Robertson.
Okay, affordable housing. It's a big issue, but it's also for New Orleans East residents. It's almost like they're tired of hearing affordable housing because it has brought so much attention, so much crime, and so much other negative connotations. So when we talk about affordable housing, one of the things that I've done personally is that I've invested in properties where I've allowed people that may not could have afforded a certain type of house, and I've provided that for them just to kind of maybe as an I guess an experiment, I would say. And I've done it for 3 families, and it has been such an rewarding project to see families with children that's able to stay in an area that they don't have to worry about, being shot at, or they don't have to worry about, different things. And so I
Thank
think.
you. Time. Sorry.
And my apologies, we have 60 seconds for this if
Oh,
I
okay.
did not
All right.
say that. Thank
Okay.
you.
That's okay. Thank you.
And Mr. Rounds, the question is yours.
Well, let me first say New Orleans East has its fair share of rental units. But if we look at what's taking place now, you just had a Texas developer to come in and purchase 1/3 of all rental units available in New Orleans East. Their plan is to renovate it and put it back into the stream of commerce. We have to make sure that we have incentives in place and we hold these landlords accountable for the repair and maintenance of their units. Secondly, we have to go with NORA. We have a lot of blight in New Orleans East. So we have to enter into litigation, take care of the blight, hold these landowners accountable. And if they're not holding their feet to the fire, replace them, put those units back into commerce, and provide affordable housing for the residents of New Orleans East. Listen, renters as well as homeowners deserve to live in New Orleans East, and they deserve to have a place that they can be proud of.
Thank you. Mr. Henry, the question is yours.
Judge, can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. The question is, how do you balance affordable housing, home ownership, and neighborhood stability while preventing displacement?
I think enforcement of the zoning codes and ordinances right now is a good place to start. I think, making sure that homeowners and follow the whatever the ordinances are around. It seems like more of a local issue than a state issue, but if your grass can't be over a certain height, that needs to be enforced. If your gutter can't be half on and half off, that needs to be enforced. But affordability isn't an issue that I hear about when I'm knocking on doors, talking to voters and residents. I think we have affordable housing. I think the neighborhood stability issue, I'm gonna take a little different direction. We got to get insurance costs under control. If we can't pay homeowners insurance in this district, we don't have housing, and that leads to instability. So I think we need to talk about how we can work to reduce and make insurance premiums, homeowners insurance premiums, more fair so that we can be stable in our homes and not lose them. But and I think we need to make sure that we are protected from absent landlords, especially in subsidized housing in District 100.
Thank you, Tom.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes, can you repeat that question for me?
Sure. How do you balance affordable housing, home ownership, and neighborhood stability while preventing displacement?
I think that first of all, we have to understand that housing is not a luxury, but a human need. And then everyone deserves to live in a community and in a home that is, that is created to ensure that their families thrive, not just financially, but academically and emotionally. So again, I say, housing is not a human, is not a luxury, but a human need. And I think that we would look at some aspects that we talk about the NORA program, how we can sit and partner with them and identify some resources that they may have in regards to NORA and sitting in partnership with them. Also, looking at possibly enforcing some anti-gouging and renter protection, especially after disasters, because we see a lot of that in a district where people cannot afford to be able to live in the district, not just in the district, but in the city and the state of Louisiana. So I will go back to saying that when we look at affordable housing, we need to look at.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Taylor?
Yes, thank you. So we talk about affordable housing. I think someone mentioned that it's often sometimes comes with a stigmatized term. Affordable housing. I needed affordable housing. I was a single mother raising 4 sons right here in New Orleans East. I needed affordable housing, and I understood the importance of taking care of my home, taking care of, when you take care of your home, you're taking care of the community. So I think we need to just address the current housing stock that we have. It needs to be redeveloped. It needs to be also supported. Whatever local enforcements that are not being enforced, the state needs to come in and provide some support from the state level. How can we strengthen whatever policies are on the books that are going to support local code enforcement to ensure that we don't see blight, to ensure that residents know what the responsibilities are of taking care of their home, taking care of their community. So I think we just really need to make sure that if we have out-of-state property owners, in-state property owners, that they are being held to the highest standard. And if not, they need to be penalized at the state level. Because the community shouldn't pay for that. So that's my answer for that, for District 100.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and so our next question is going to be about public safety, health, and quality of life. You'll have 60 seconds to answer the question. What does public safety mean beyond policing? And what role should the state play in expanding healthcare, mental health services, and support for seniors and people with disabilities? And we'll start with Mr. Henry.
Judge, I was trying to write while you were talking. Can you repeat it for
Sure,
me?
no problem.
That's a long question.
Yes. What does public safety mean beyond policing? And what role should the state play in expanding healthcare, mental health services, and support for seniors and people with disabilities? And remember, 60 seconds.
Beyond policing, I think public safety is one, having a well-lit community. Two, I think we have to engage when you talk about public safety, giving the youth and kids the opportunity to do things that are productive. Center that clearly around NORD, and identify some funds at the state level that we may be able to identify some funds to support the work that NORD does in terms of after-school programming. I think that in terms of the role the state plays in mental health with senior citizens, I mean, at the state level, it really comes down to just identifying funds to supplement what's already being done on the ground at the local level, tapping into and leveraging relationships that the federal government may have in some incentives through grants possibly, but really making the case. And that's one of the things I think 25 years as an attorney has taught me, to find an angle and make a case where the other people on the other side of the aisle sees this.
Thank you, Tom. Sorry. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. And Ms. Kelly?
Can you give me that question again?
Sure. What does public safety mean beyond policing? And what role should the state play in expanding healthcare, mental health services, and support for seniors and people with disabilities?
Public safety looks like outside of policing. It looks like creating partnerships with organizations, mentorship programs with schools, with community parks. So I think that it could look like expanding partnerships with already existing organizations that's already doing the work and that's already in the trenches with the population that we serve, not just with children, but with adults and with seniors. For example, I spend every Wednesday with the Silverback Society Power Girls, and that is a program that is utilized to mentor young girls. So I think that looking at just the aspect of capitalize on those already existing partnerships that we have, I think would be a great beginning to answering that initial question that you asked. And then your second piece of that question was?
What role should the state play in expanding mental health care, and support for seniors and people with disabilities?
Well, I mean, I think that our last legislative session showed us that our representatives and our senators did an excellent job with ensuring that we kept those basic services and needs that our constituents needed without them feeling real pinches when it came to healthcare and things like SNAP benefits and different pieces like that. So I would say that in regards to that, it would be to continue that work with those legislators across the aisle, with ensuring that we have.
Tom, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So I believe the initial question was about outside of police. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
What does public safety mean beyond policing?
Yeah, thank you. So for me, I'm thinking about investment into our youth. I'm thinking about investment into literacy. I know we are on the upward trend as it pertains to, I believe it's the fourth graders. There's an increase in reading levels. We understand if our children have a great education and if they can read, they are less likely to go out and commit crimes. They have a higher sense of self-confidence. So we have to invest into our kids early on. We need to invest in them. We also need to ensure that our community has access to healthy and fresh food. As we know, we are in a food desert. For the amount of people that we have in District 100, we should have 10 to 12 grocery stores, and we have 2. When you have access to healthier, fresh food, you have better mental health. Better mental health is better public health. So when people feel good about themselves, when they treat other people good, there's less likely opportunity for crime. When it comes to seniors and disabilities, they should be treated fair, have the same equal access and opportunities and resources that everyone else has. Thank you.
And Ms. Robertson.
Yes, so public safety beyond policing. I'll go back to the social programs. I think that we should definitely create social programs such as youth programs, youth training, mentorship programs, mental illness support programs. I believe that having those things would definitely bring us back to having what we call a community. I think if we bring back the community and we begin to be our brother's keeper again, that will keep us safer, and that would help the police to not have to do as much as they have to do. And I think that as far as the seniors and the disabilities and all of those other things, they should be state funded. Most of them, especially the seniors, they have worked all of their lives. They've given themselves, and I think that if they're at a point of need, that the state should provide that funding for them.
Thank you. And Mr. Rounds?
Thank you, Judge. Listen, that's considered a critical service. And if I'm elected to the legislature, I will fight to protect all critical services to the District 100 community. But how do you look at it different? Lighting is a concern. Mental health, jobs, mentorship, economic opportunity, economic development. All those things are root causes of crime. So if you protect them on the first side, on the front side of it, and you do the things to put the mechanisms in place, then those bad behaviors don't happen. Secondarily, when it comes to mental health, we understand that a few administrations ago gutted mental health. We need back inpatient mental health services. Some people you can't just treat by a phone call or with a walk-in service, but they need actual in-bed care. So funding would be critical to me. It would be paramount to fund these services for the overall safety and protection of the community, because it works when you have the proper funding.
Thank you. All right, candidates, this is going to be our final question, and you have 60 seconds to answer this question. It focuses on education and youth opportunity. Do you agree or not that children in District 100 have equal access to quality education today? And the second part is, what would you push for at the state level to support schools, career training, and job pathways? And we'll start with Mr. Rounds.
Wow, that's kind of a compound question. Repeat it for me one more time.
Sure. The first part is, do you agree or disagree that children in District 100 have equal access to quality education today?
Compared to who are we saying equal access to? The easy answer would be no, because I don't have a metric to compare it to. If you're saying statewide, you're saying district-wide, what are you comparing it to?
Whatever you want to.
Okay, well, then my answer, the easy answer would be no. I think that we need to pour more resources into the students. We need to pour more resources into the schools. So if I had to judge from a metric, if you're asking whether or not the systems we have in place are working, are good, or bringing up to level, we've seen test scores go up in the district, okay? But we've also seen a lot of transientness, meaning from the providers changing over a lot, and we've seen the districts be top heavy at times. Now, we've seen some success stories in the district. So we got to get a balance. I think it should be judged on a case-by-case basis to determine if it's working for the betterment. But do I think they have equality? No, I think we need multiple times more funding.
Okay, and then what would you push for at the state level to support schools, career training, and job pathways?
I would push for funding. Funding is the key. I think the schools are underfunded. They need more resources. So I would push to bring resources to the school and to the community programs.
Thank you. Ms. Robertson, the question is yours.
Okay, so do I think the education and youth opportunities are equal in District 100? Do they have equal access is what you're asking.
That's right.
I would say that they do have equal access because looking at the way that the school system is now, the kids can go to any school that they want to. They don't have to go to the school in their district. Now, if we're talking about just in District 100, then I would say no, they don't have equal access. I think that the District 100 school system is less quality than some of the other school systems that I've seen. And so a lot of the youth do have to go to another area to get that quality education that they need. And as far as funding, I would definitely make sure that funding comes to education and partnerships will be very important in this. We have to partner with nonprofits. We have to partner with churches. We'd have to partner with other organizations that are already doing education to make sure that the proper education is being brought to our children.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Ms. Taylor?
All right, thank you. So the first part of your question, I'm sorry,
Do you agree or disagree that children in District 100 have equal access to quality education today?
Okay, so no, they do not have equal access to quality education. I was a former educator for a little bit, and there are some discrepancies, there are some gaps as it pertains to what we consider quality education. I think the state can do a much better job at funding, the current structure, and we also need to be able to identify what the gaps that are there. How can we address those? How can we be clear and very intentional about what quality access to education is? So there needs to be a clear understanding, a clear definition of what quality access is, and then ensure that the children of District 100 get that. We have some kids that are going to other schools outside of the district because there appears to be another level of quality in other areas, and they're getting home at 4 or 5, sometimes 6 o'clock in the evening. So in my opinion, no, we need to do a much better job. We need to fund equitably the schools that we have here in this district and make sure that all of our kids have access to a quality education.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes, could you give me that again?
Sure. Do you agree or disagree that children in District 100 have equal access to quality education today? And what would you push for at the state level to support schools, career training, and job pathways?
I do not. I do not believe that children have the same educational opportunities as some other districts or different areas of the state. As we know that education is the foundation of opportunity. And we have seen quite a few schools closed in our district within the last year or two. So I would definitely say that no. Also, but on the flip side, we do have we do have Lake Forest Charter School in our district, which is a blue ribbon school, which is an excellent school. So we do have the ability to build and to provide equitable education to the children that we serve, and also quality education. I would say in regards to ensuring that this education is equitable, I would talk about ensuring that we implement early childhood education programs and ensure that we have resources for every child at every needs level in the school, right? Transparency when it comes to funding and how the schools are funded. Also safe and well-maintained schools, ensuring that the schools are safe and well-maintained for every child that into our school buildings. And then I think the last piece would be to make sure that we ensure that we create policy that creates quality schools for the children in our district.
Thank you. That's time.
Thank you. And Mr. Henry?
In District 100, I don't think we have equal access to quality education. We have some shining stars that are doing well, but I think based upon the number of school age kids in New Orleans East, we need more high quality schools in District 100. So I think we need to open up access more to more quality public schools in District 100. In terms of training, I think the first thing we need to do is we need to raise teacher pay. One thing that I would do is try to file a bill that would tie the salaries of public school teachers to some sort of inflation marker, whether it's the consumer price index or something to keep salaries up with the cost of goods and services that our teachers are paying for. But we can talk about accelerated certification programs, some job training to get teachers certified quicker so they can make more money. And I think a lot of that's already being done at the state level, but I think we need to look to expand that in districts where schools aren't performing as well. Certified teachers typically mean higher outcomes for kids. Increased pay typically means for teachers higher outcomes for kids as well. So those are sort of the things that I would look at if elected as a state representative at the state level.
Thank you. Well, candidates, that brings our forum to a close this evening. Oh, wait. Oh, I thought somebody was saying something. I'm sorry. I want to thank each of you for your participation and your responses. And that's it.
Thank you.